Rain fell in soft sheets over downtown Chicago, painting the sidewalks in reflections of headlights and neon signs. Amid the bustle of umbrellas and hurried feet, a woman stood by a coffee shop window, her coat soaked through, her arms wrapped tightly around herself, as if that could block out more than the cold. Her name was Lena Morrison, a waitress who had just lost her second job that week. She had exactly $1 left in her purse. Not even enough for a cup of coffee, much less rent. Yet she smiled at every stranger who passed, trying to keep her chin up, as her mother used to say. That's when she saw him, a boy, no older than 12, barefoot and shivering under a bus stop awning, trying to sell newspapers that were too wet to read. His face was pale, his eyes sunken, and though he held out a hand to the crowd, most brushed past without a glance. Lena didn't hesitate. She walked up to him, placed her last dollar in his trembling hand, and peeled off her scarf to wrap around his neck. "Buy yourself something warm, sweetheart," she said softly. He looked up at her with wide, glassy eyes. "Why are you helping me?" Lena smiled. "Because someone once helped me. That's how the world gets better." Then she turned and walked away, unaware that her simple act of kindness had been witnessed and felt far deeper than she could have imagined. 15 years later, the name Elliot James was on every screen, every billboard, every business podcast. The tech prodigy, turned philanthropist, had built an empire worth billions, yet rarely appeared in public. Rumor had it he was obsessed with giving back, especially to people who reminded him of his past. Lena, now in her late 40s, still worked at a diner. Life hadn't gotten easier. Her dream of opening a bakery had faded behind bills, hospital visits for her ailing mother, and long shifts that barely kept them afloat. One rainy afternoon, as she cleared a table, her manager called out, "Lena, there's someone here to see you." Standing at the door was a sharply dressed young man. His suit looked expensive, but it was his eyes, warm, familiar, searching, that stopped her cold. "Lena Morrison?" he asked gently. She nodded, puzzled. "I'm Elliot," he said. "You gave me your last dollar 15 years ago." At first, she didn't remember, but then, the boy at the bus stop, the scarf, the dollar. Her hand flew to her mouth. "You. That was you." He nodded. "That moment changed everything for me. I was homeless, abandoned. Your kindness was the first time I felt seen. I didn't do much," she whispered. "You saved me." The mansion 2 weeks later. Lena stood in front of a stunning stone mansion, nestled on the edge of a quiet forest, just outside the city. It had a garden filled with her favorite tulips, a kitchen designed for a baker, and a library with her mother's favorite books. "This is yours," Elliot told her. "All of it. I can't accept this." He smiled. "Yes, you can. You invested in me when I had nothing. This is your return." Tears streamed down her cheeks as she stepped inside. It wasn't just the house. It was the feeling of being remembered, valued, repaid in a way that honored her soul. Epilogue. Lena opened a bakery out of her new home. She named it The Last Dollar and offered free pastries every Sunday to anyone who couldn't pay. Her story spread across the country, inspiring thousands to give without expecting, to believe that kindness returns when least expected. And somewhere in the crowd, Elliot James would sometimes visit, slipping in quietly and leaving generous tips behind, anonymous notes that always ended with, "Because someone once helped me." That's how the world gets better.